We're ready to go. Just jumping in. It's okay. We've like saged, so we can just go for it.
I heard about this saging thing. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're going to wait a few minutes for people to come on, and then we're going to jump into it.
So I bought some tarts last night and then shared your mom's post. I was like, let me get my tarts first, some strawberry tarts, and then I'll share.
Good morning. Let us know who you are in the comments.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Yeah, I'm very excited.
I need all this coffee this morning. You're missing the free Startup Tucson coffee, guys. That. Good morning,
Hi, girls.
How are you?
It's been
Good morning,
yes,
guys.
of course we remember you.
Gosh, yes. Harold was my first connection services. I will never forget him. Okay, wait a few more minutes and then we'll get going, guys. Let us know who you are in the comments. We'll be doing some introductions in just a bit.
And then tell you about all that we're doing.
All the things. Good
We
morning.
just have a couple of things going on.
Just a couple big things.
Yay! Yay for prototypes and working on them. Keep going.
Congratulations. All right, shall we get started?
Let's do it. All right. Good morning, y'all, and welcome to Startup Coffee. Welcome to Startup Tucson. We're a nonprofit organization, and we support entrepreneurs in the region. And we've been meeting with entrepreneurs all throughout this week and the past 5 weeks. We're so encouraged to see the innovation, the resourcefulness, and the motivation to keep going. We're here for it. So if you're new to the Tucson startup ecosystem, the first place that you want to check out is the Tucson Startup Ecosystem Guide. It's startuptucson.guide, and it's an easy way to navigate the ecosystem. You can check into all of the little icons there, see what you can do for networking, see where you can go for co-working spaces. So you'll want to stop there to get yourself set up in the ecosystem. And upcoming events that we have. So I mentioned earlier, we are in the Startup Fundamentals. So Startup Lab 101 is your first class in this series. So you can take just the 101 or you can sign up for the full series. 101 focuses on getting your business problem that you're then solving for, and then seeing what kind of market and what kind of customers you have for the problem that you're trying to solve. So you'll want to sign up on our website. And then we also have coming up the Black Business Town Hall. This will be the third one in a series that is quarterly, and these are always honest discussions about business challenges and also wins that are happening in the ecosystem. It's very exciting, and it's always informative and always good. There's always so much love on there. And then we have Your Value, Your Vision, a branding workshop that is in partnership with Scott and Smith. They're a branding agency, and they are super, super awesome and fun to work with. They will show you how words matter and how infusing your business with yourself, with your values, can actually help you connect with the customers that you're looking for. So that workshop, you can go onto startuptucson.com/workshops and find it there. And then idea funding. So this is Southern Arizona's largest pitch competition, and we have it going on April 15th. And it's a chance to win, and I'll switch to the other slide. It's a chance to win $25,000 in cash and benefits, also resources. And we also have community awards. So then you can be nominating your favorite small businesses here or your favorite startups here. And if you're applying to pitch, then you want to make sure to get your application in February 22nd. So just go to startuptucson.com/idea funding. And then this is a time for introductions. We're so glad you're here, and we love getting to know what you're up to. So go ahead and share in the chat what's going on. Are you working on your MVP? Are you working on a new business concept? We'd love to know. Usually we'd be able to kind of do this in person, so we're glad that we can still do it online in the comments. So I'm Sophia Gonzalez. I'm the engagement coordinator, and passing it off to our program manager, Kenesha Raymond, and she'll be introducing our guest speakers for today, two friends who are awesome business leaders and really, really going beyond their business with what they're doing. So I'll pass it off to Kenesha.
Hey guys, welcome to Coffee. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're excited about our guests. We have Anthony Michaels and Kendall Foster on. So I'm going to bring them on so they can tell you more about themselves. They can probably better do it than I can. So welcome, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. Thank you guys for joining us today for coffee. We truly appreciate it. I know it's early, but it's a good time. So tell me about yourselves individually, and then I'm going to ask more questions about how you guys met.
Me first. What's up, everybody? My name is Anthony Michaels. I am a tattoo artist and owner of 2512 Collective here in Tucson. Some of you may know, some of you don't. Back in 2015 and 2016, I filmed and aired on a competition reality TV show named Ink Master. I was the winner of season 7. Appeared on a few spin-off episodes from Ink Master, appearing as a coach for other artists. Appeared a couple times to defend my title from season 7 as well. Came back as a coach for season 10. And after everything kind of unfolded and the dust settled, I pulled the trigger on opening my first business. It's always been a dream of mine, regardless of what it was, I was going to open a business. So I just had to get my ducks in a row and do things a certain way. Just kind of going through the industry and learning how I learn things. And from my perspective, it was best that way. A lot of people expected me to kind of pull the trigger right away. It's understandable. A lot of people, I think, when they're presented with an opportunity like that, or they're in that, I mean, what you want to do first is just go for it, right? But I am very unorthodox how I do things, very methodical. I've always been very purposeful with the things I do. And here we are. So we opened November 19th of 2018. And we're almost 3 years in now, and things are, sometimes I don't know how, but I know that myself and the crew that we have here just put in way too much work for us to not do what we're doing right now for the community. So yeah, very grateful to be here. Thank you for having us. This is an awesome opportunity just to kind of connect with the community and bring people up to speed and stay connected. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Kendall, tell us about yourself.
It's hard to follow that intro up, but mine is local yokel, native. I always joke around and say, because native to Tucson, 4 generations deep, native to Gila River Nation, right up the road, just shy of Phoenix, and love this city with everything I got. I've known Anthony since I was a kid. We went to the YMCA way back in the day downtown.
Work together.
So worked together back then, work together now. So it's just amazing to see things come full circle and to actually get into position to make some impacts and really give back to Tucson and really just want to put this city on the map in any way possible.
I love that. Both of you guys are talking more about community and how you can build that.
Right.
I wanted to know how you met, but you covered that. What made you guys work together in this capacity now?
I don't know. I don't know that it was put into fruition as we use that term and the intention behind that today. But we were always connected, whether it was the same group of people or we were in the same space. Fast forward to now as adults and men, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing back then.
I still don't, shit.
Now, again, with us being matured and a little weathered in just kind of the community and our personal experiences, we definitely see what we can do to kind of share that with others, right? For something better. Things are just they're too stagnant, right? And with our ambition, but also the action that we take, it only makes sense for us to kind of stay in contact and see how we can at least start like a ripple, right? And eventually the ripple will gain some momentum and turn into a wave, and then, you know, everybody's on board. So we try to stay in contact as much as possible. We're both extremely busy, but our goals and our intentions are the same, and I think that's what keeps people together, you know. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I've prided myself on my network. I think of people that I've met and acquired in here and met through my coming up here in Tucson. Obviously, clearly Anthony's one of them. I mean, we can go around this whole entire shop and studio to say, hey, we've met some great folks. And I think that's what Tucson's all about. It's a weird, eclectic city and town, and I'm happy that I can call, you know, our mayors. I got some cell phone numbers. I got some connections that I've established and that I can call upon. And now I can actually get those folks to maybe, hey, make some changes. Maybe make some changes for the better of a neighborhood, or maybe better for a certain community, or maybe somebody who's less privileged or underserved or economically challenged community. So again, just owning our city really is what it is. I mean, taking ownership and having a piece of it.
Yeah. I think that takes a lot. It takes a lot for us to, one, build in our city, but two, be a part of the city that's here and to make change in it. Anthony, when did you know you wanted to be a tattoo artist?
7th grade. I would get in trouble during class for drawing on myself and drawing in the back of the class. Though my grades were on point, I just found downtime when something was not interesting, and that's what I did. In short, a teacher had a tattoo. He gave me the rundown of the whole process. And that year, there was a lot of stuff coming up in middle school pertaining to us preparing for like adulthood, right? And figuring out what we're gonna do, what we were good at, learn about the economy and everything, and nothing made sense. But I knew I had to be an artist, and I wanted to impact the masses. How? Man, that was in 7th grade. I didn't know how. I just knew I was gonna do art. Saw the tattoo, he gave me the rundown of the process, and it made sense. And that moment on, I went back into class. When I was called upon, I raised my hand and said, I'm gonna be a tattoo artist. I was laughed at, right? Made fun of for a long time. And here we are. So I stood on that. Even getting here, I mean, I've had countless jobs, played collegiate sports, traveled a lot doing that, playing basketball. And I always, in the off season, I would have odd jobs here and there. And one year I just got fed up. I was selling software for small businesses to manage their credit reports. Like, knew nothing about that, went to training and was just miserable, right? I had like a 90-something% sales rate, right? So for the company, I figured it out. I'm coachable. So once I figured out what needed to be done and you do that, it's just like, okay, like what next, you know? And yeah, I got fed up, put my 2 weeks in, and no, I'm good, brother. Thank you. I was gifted a set of tattoo machines and never looked back. I took a grapefruit that I tattooed into work the next day and gave my manager, my 2 weeks notice, and said that he was waiting for me to do that. He was wondering when I was gonna use my talent, and that was that. I never looked back.
Okay, so did you give your first tattoo before you got your first tattoo?
Good question.
Did I give my first tattoo before I got my first tattoo?
Mm-hmm.
My first tattoo was at the age of 18. So now I was getting tattooed before I started tattooing. That was part of my intention. I really wanted to dive in a different way. I was getting turned down left and right for an apprenticeship. I started seeking one in high school. My basketball ventures kind of hindered that a little bit because of my availability and my travel and the demand that calls for. So that was a tough one, because when I was in town, even as I was getting older, I was trying left and right for years to get an apprenticeship, and I wasn't taken seriously, So I kept up on my art. I kept doing what I was passionate about, but getting tattooed was a big deal for me, because if I wasn't going to be taught, I needed to figure it out another way. And I just figured I need to understand what I'm going to put people through. I need to feel it. And then I can just ask my questions to the artist while I'm in the chair. So I found a way, and I was able to gather enough information to where I was confident to give it a shot. And yeah, we did that,
So after tattooing the grapefruit, how long was it before you actually tattooed a person?
The next day.
Okay.
Yeah, I took it into work, and I had about 10 people from the place I worked at that were on board, and went home. And my ex-girlfriend at the time, her cousin was like first in line. He was waiting for years, and I hit the ground running. I didn't even finish my remaining 2 weeks. It was just that day, that notice. After that, I didn't go back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ambitious, confident, because I don't know how confident I would be after this grapefruit and then the next day. But that's great because it's brought you to where you are now. Kendall, tell me more about your background and where you are now.
Background has, almost like Anthony, I've been all over the place. I don't shy away from that, because it has got me some great connections. It's got me some great folks, and I've gotten to expose myself to them in a manner to say, hey, like, I'm serious. I really do love Tucson, and let me show you how and why. Where I'm at now is I'll be taking over for the economic development manager for Pasco Yaqui, and a native nation here in Southern Arizona. There's 22 throughout the state. This is a work that I've been wanting to get into for so long. So I'm so excited and thrilled to embark on a new journey. And this journey is like something that I can see myself just keep on going until I die. And all this work I've been talking about for quite some time. Indigenous communities have just been underserved, and it's just an underserved population, and it's always overlooked, which is really frustrating. I'm fortunate enough to be on the board with the University of Arizona for cancer research, and seeing the disparities and seeing how they just need help. They just need just a little help will go so long, so far. And so that's why I think y'all had mentioned like me as an ambassador, and just excited to fight a good fight. Really, that's really it.
That's exciting. That's an exciting transition. I know you're on like 35 boards and all the things.
I am. I ain't gonna lie. I am. And you know what? I gotta say this. That's a shout out to Edmund Marquez. Edmund, he's been a mentor for me for quite some time in terms of economic development. And whether you like him or not, the guy he's everywhere. And when Sophia reached out and said, hey, like, what are all you involved in? And I started typing it out. And I'm like, oh, but I'm on that too, and I'm on this too, and I'm part of this, and I'm part of that. And I'm like, holy crap. I mean, and this goes back to Edmund to say, hey, like, I heard him loud and clear, and I latched onto his advice, and I'm doing it. And I'm happy to be on boards that I'm truly passionate about, that have a true essence that lies in me that says, no, we really do need to work on toxic masculinity. We definitely do need to work on children's pediatric dentistry. We definitely do need to speak about cancer and how that affects folks. We definitely do need to talk about the Dunbar and how we can revive this community to where it could and should be and beyond. And the list goes on in terms of boys to men. That's a whole nother one too, as well, here in Tucson. My guy, Michael Brasher. So there's so many communities. Yes, I'm definitely a part of a whole lot. El Rio, yes, all of them. And I love them all.
How do you make time for all of them?
Yeah,
you know what?
Give us your secret.
Yeah, so I am learning that you do have to say no to some things. And that is something I have struggled with for a long time. There's some things that I've been always like a people pleaser. I always just want to say yes to everybody. I just want to help everybody. I mean, the guy who's sitting on the corner who's selling tamales, I want to buy a tamale from him because I know he probably needs to feed his baby. So there's some things that you do have to say, hey, I only got this much bandwidth for this, and I can commit to this. And that's where I got to get honest with myself and start to say, hey, I can't do there. I can't be there, but I can commit to X, and that's a good start. And I think for this entire program that you have going, it's a great start to entrepreneurs to say, know your bandwidth. Like, know that there's some parts that you're just gonna fumble and fail. I've totally fumbled and failed so many things where I'm like, I know I said I was gonna do that, but I just, again, like Anthony mentioned earlier, where's the time? Like, how do we prioritize the time? So, and that's where I just kind of hone back on my essence and know, hey, like, there's some key things in my life that I cannot miss. And then I start from there again.
Yeah, I think work-life balance is crap.
Yeah.
Some kind of balance is great. However you want to take that balance, take it. So let's talk about Ink Masters. In 2015, 2016-ish, you won. Then you didn't open a shop till 2018. How did that change your life and put you to where you are now, opening the shop in 18?
Oh man, Ink Master. That is a child's dream, right? You want to be on TV. You want to hit it big. You want to be a professional athlete. You want everything you don't have. That's on the outside. Okay. What it takes to produce every episode, what it takes to evoke emotion to those people watching at home, on the internet, wherever they're watching, it's grueling. Grateful, but grueling. I was one of the viewers that was sitting at home judging and criticizing the hell out of every single artist that was on there. Are you kidding? How do you allow yourself to come on this platform and you can't produce some of the basic stuff in tattooing? Until I got there and I was just like, excuse my language, but oh shit, okay, I get it. It's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I think separated me from the rest, there's speculation, right, in the production world. There was just a lot of hearsay going on, but I stuck to staying true, and I stuck to staying true to myself, and I stuck to my why I was even doing that in the first place.
Yeah.
So you're here, you're on TV, right? You made it. First episode or last episode, you're here. But why are you here? And I think that was the turning point. Going through what I've gone through personally in my life allowed me to flip that switch. Cool. This is where we wanted to get. What are you going to do with it now that you're here? And what Kendall said earlier, know your bandwidth, right? For those who didn't catch that, in a simpler form, know what you're good at, know what you can do, right? And I was there to tattoo. It wasn't an argumentative competition show. It wasn't a fighting competition show. It was a tattoo competition show. And I was told, look, any physical contact, any type of disrespect, like, you're zero tolerance, you're out of here. So even more so, I was there to tattoo, right? And then that little voice in the back of my head, my mom telling me, whatever you do, whether you're going to pick up trash for the city or you're going to be a congressman, you be the best damn one there is, right? So I knew my bandwidth. I knew what I was good at. And that's what I did on Ink Master. I won, came back home, and again, going back to the community, I think without me saying it, I've realized now, just talking about this, choosing to stay in Tucson speaks to how I feel about Tucson and speaks to my intention. I can't tattoo everybody that wants to get tattooed by me. I'm only one person. I can only do one at a time. So if I stayed in town where I started, if I stayed at the shop that gave me an opportunity to stay there when they had no business coming in, it made sense that the spillover and the extra opportunity that comes with the connections I've made are going to benefit the shop that I'm in, are going to benefit the community, right? 90% of my calendar is based of people traveling to Tucson to get tattooed. So they're going to eat here. They're going to stay here overnight. They're going to fly here. They're going to shop here, right? They're going to find multiple reasons other than what I'm giving them as far as an experience to continue to come to Tucson. So it's just going to impact revenue here and the economy here. And it made sense. This is where I started. Let's keep it going. You know, I heard from a client and a local early on when Ink Master was hot, you know, Tucson may be small, but we're mighty. And that's like exactly how I feel about Tucson. I just don't think there's enough people trying to do something here for the community. And again, I'm not in a position to just flip a switch and make a drastic change overnight, but I will make a drastic change here. And community is so important because strength in numbers, right? We're all, regardless of what we look like, we're all human, all right? And we started before civilization, before civilized language, in tribes, in communities where people had roles. They knew their bandwidth, they knew what they were good at, and everybody worked together for one common goal, right? Everyday survival, happiness, productivity, prosperity. Everyone wanted the same thing. Why we're so divided right now? Look, whatever. There's a multitude of reasons, right? But it's not impossible. So it just, again, if it takes years, it takes years. If it takes this, fucking awesome.
Right.
Let's push this thing blazing on all cylinders till the wheels fall off, and then we get behind it and then we push it. You know what I mean? So this is where it started. This is where it's going to stay. This is where it's going to be based and rooted out of. And then as we branch out, hopefully the community comes with us, you know?
Yeah, we teach a lot about standing on your why or standing behind your why, because that's what gets you out of the bed in the morning. That's what pushes you forward. So what is your why?
I have this weird thing with favorites and singulars or one, especially when it comes to things of significance.
Mm-hmm.
My why is, look, I'm not gonna lie, part of it is ego, part of it is me wondering and being a realist and being like, my hands aren't gonna work like this forever, my eyes aren't gonna work like this forever, I gotta go. The fact that I could still compete athletically, I'm blessed. I have to go get it because there's somebody else in my position that is kicking my ass right now. And what are they bringing to the table for their family and their community that I could be doing, right? Another part of that is who's watching me, right? My family, the kids. Their world is so different now, how they're brought up, you know, and I struggle with that. I compare them to how I was brought up, and that's not fair. So just trying to stand on what I believe and what I think is essential and what they need, at least they'll see that. You know, I'm married. I even more reason to want to provide, right, and motivate my partner as well. Everybody in my family, on my mom's and dad's side, business owners, master's degrees, multiple languages, and I'm the only one that didn't finish college. I knew I wasn't going to finish college. I really tried, but it wasn't my route. So I was hell bent on doing something and staying productive with the intentions I have, with good intentions. I think the fear of losing all of this and going back to how it was when I was growing up, it's just not an option. It's not an option, you know. And I constantly hear from people, strangers, and the community, of how inspiring my journey has been. And every day people are constantly asking me questions for guidance and help, and whether it's personal or artistically. And that's inspiring for me, you know, to know that people are actually benefiting, that people feel the same way, they've gone through the same things, and then maybe they just need that little bit. They just need to see something or hear something to really take off and do it. Everybody's capable. I was just presented with an opportunity and made a choice to make something of it. So we're all capable of doing that. And if I continue to show up, I think it'll make it a little bit more tangible and realistic for others who are in hope, right? Because hope is only a part of it. I think habit is the other part.
Discipline.
And it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. It's hard.
Yeah, I think that when people hear your story, they connect with your story. So they don't know what they don't know. And so once you present your story, then they connect on small levels. Oh, I went through this too, so I can. So it's very inspiring for you to tell your story to bring people to the community, which is very helpful.
Big time.
Kendall, what is your why?
I'm gonna say twofold. I think of James Baldwin. He has a quote where he talks about, you know, every like black person in America is just pissed, like they're just angry, and it's a silent, hot simmer that they just want change, they just want equality, and that's what drives me, and that drives my fight of like, and even when I close my fist like this, I'm like, you know, I want to see this guy succeed. I want to fight for him as much as I'm fighting for myself. And that's really kind of take it all the way back. I think that's one of our rooted friendships is like, I just want you to win. Like, I want you to go far as hell, as far as you can go. Everybody in the shop, you know, I want to see them win. I want to see them win. And then on the other side, it's my grandmother. Like, my grandmother was a huge pivotal piece of my world. And she's like my guardian angel. Everywhere I go, I can feel her 10 feet behind me, just watching, just chilling, little 4'10" little lady, just sitting back like, what you doing? You know, like, what is that? Does that serve your purpose? Is that what we talked about? Did we didn't talk about this. Like, I know what you're doing. Like, you better get right. And the weird part is that she didn't talk much. She was, I mean, full-blooded Native. Boarding schools beat her language out of her, literally. And again, this goes back to the James Baldwin piece. It's like, that's not right. That is so not right. So I've just been blessed to be healthy and active, and I can communicate well and build friendships. And so I know this is my destiny. I know this is my why.
If y'all don't have a best friend like Kendall, fire them and get a new one, because Kendall is ruining it for his friends.
Hey, let's get it. Let me get it.
I'm so compelled to spin off of what you just said. You know, you said that in light, but there is some weight behind that. And it's funny, I was gonna make a post about this, right? About really surrounding yourself, making some changes and surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. And that can come off wrong, mean, heartless to some people, but there's really, again, going back to community and everybody having their part in their role, right? If you, your best friend, your acquaintance, whoever it is, if you guys are on the same path, maybe they don't have to have the same dream, but they're trying to do something with what they want out of like life, right?
Yes.
And they're taking action. That's what that looks like.
That's
so
your people.
If you're going after it and doing this, and your homie just wants to just like go out on the weekends and chill and judge and criticize, that might not be the person that you associate with on a regular basis, because the subconscious and a big part of you will only be as good as your weakest link, you know? So
Bye, Felicia.
it's tough because when I do see you, even though I don't, you know, kick it with you as often as, you know, Kendall and I and my amazing team that I have here, there's no love lost. And that's for me, because that's my intention. Hey, this is my role. This is my place right now. This is what I have to do. But when I see you, we're going to pick up where we left off. And if that person has a problem with that, you're not the problem.
Yeah.
The other person has some things that they need to work through, and you trying to help them out is just, you're not going to get to where you need to go. You can't get there from here.
That's true. That is true. Surround yourself by the people you want in your life that are on the same level. Because if not, it brings you down. And it's not, it brings you down in a bad way. It brings you down to the point where you're not pushing to get where you need to be or where you want to be. So then in a year, you're still stagnant and you're talking about, well, I wish I coulda, shoulda. Well, you could have, but you chose to do X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely.
So 2512 Collective, that stood out to me a ton because it's not a shop. It is truly a collective. So tell me why you chose collective and kind of how that came to be.
Well, I have to give all of the credits to one of my best friends and manager, Mike. He was in here, and I spent years before Master. I was like, what is going to be the name of my business? And everything was cliche. Tattoo this, tattoo that, blah, blah. And I was just like, you know what? When I get there, I'll revisit this. It took a lot for me to put it down. So years and years and years go by. Mike and I crossed paths again. We separated for a long time. Known him as long as Kendall and I have known each other.
I came first, Mike. I came first, just for the record.
I walk in here for demo. Mike and I were doing demo on the shop, and he's just kind of brainstorming, right? Mike is very spiritual. He's big on energy, and he knows that about me. And I think he saw an opportunity just to kind of help me just kind of like decompress a little bit. So there's scribbles all over the wall. And at first, the normal me is gonna flip out, right? Like we're writing on the walls, but we were gonna paint over it. So it was at this point, let's tear it down so we can build it up. And he spells out 2512, and he just kind of starts thinking, and he knows a lot. He knows everything about me personally. So we incorporated numerology into that, and there's some huge significance that I was just overlooking. Rewind a little bit, I was fighting tooth and nail to not be at this location because I had a certain vision for the experience I wanted to provide for tattooing. And this location fought it was against everything I was trying to do. But this location was the only location that was willing to give me an opportunity. And we looked at 10 other places. They all said no, shot it down quick. No tattoos, no, whatever. All the excuses you can think of, we got. We're here, he's brainstorming. He connects some personal dots for me. On a bigger scale, my intention for the shop, this location was everything. And it all started with just the address. Super simple. I was going crazy. The address is 2512 North Campbell. So he just broke it down simplistically. I was thinking too far into it, and he just broke it down, started with where we were at, and this is everything. So 2512 represents new beginnings. Going into this, I wanted to provide a new experience for tattooing. I was laughed at on the show when I said I wanted to change the face of tattooing. I didn't want to be the spokesperson. I'm not trying to be the ultimate tattooer of the world or something crazy like that. I wanted to just bring a certain level of respect from how I was taught and my mentors in tattooing. I wanted to bring what I went through and how I feel about it to Tucson. So every day that we step in this building, artist or client, it's going to be a new day. It's going to be a fresh start. 2512 summed up is 10. In numerology, 1 is a fresh start, new beginning, which this business was for me, and I intended to be for everybody else. 0 is whole. We're all on a journey to achieve wholeness, right? which is also what my personal brand is about. I have a triangle tattooed under my eye with a burst of light in the middle of it. And that represents wholeness and being centered with light and love and positivity. So when he was doing that, it made sense. I let go of everything and I gave in and I trusted the process. I went back to my reason, my why, my intention, and we adapted, right? And 2512 collective, the collective aspect of that, a lot of people are like, oh, how are you running your business? That doesn't really speak to a collective. What else are you guys doing in there? Well, it's about community. All right. And we're only going to be as good as our weakest link in here. So we hold each other accountable, right? We're a collective. I'm going to be okay. Regardless of what I've been through, because of my upbringing and what's going on up here, I will always be okay. But the collective aspect it means it's not just for me. It's for these artists here who Ink Master is no more, so not going to have that opportunity. How can we use this platform to give you the benefits of being in that position or having that opportunity? And then the community to think that I'm unattainable. Hey guys, I'm right here, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. This is where we're at. We're right here in Tucson together. Like, I'm not going anywhere.
Perfect. I have so many questions.
Go,
So many
go. Just wrap it up. Let's go. Let's go.
All the time. What I'm going to do is open it up for questions in the chat.
Sure.
I think for my last question, and then I'll probably tap you guys later because I want to talk about face tattoos. I have a whole thing about face tattoos. But you guys are making a huge mark in the community. What is your hope for founders or people trying to create a community space within a business?
I think it's a must. Like, I mean, if you come here to the studio, you can see the community space that we, hell, I come here just to get work done. Like, I mean, you'd be surprised the atmosphere that Anthony and Mike had created. It's inviting. I mean, it is so inviting. I highly suggest anyone to come in, pop your head inside the shop. I tell everybody this all the time. I say, pop your head inside the shop, tell them that you know Kendall, and they'll take care of you. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And they go, okay, cool, I'll just walk in. And it's like Anthony said, it's right in the heart of town, great location. I mean, we have so many also local eateries too as well. I mean, like little shout outs like Cartel right there. Goodness is right on the other side.
Amazing.
I mean, we have so many local awesome folks that we just love to keep supporting. And so it's like a nice little loop that we got to keep moving. But yeah, I mean, come in. You got to come check it out. Come check it out.
There's a lot of intention that went into this place, and Mike and I butted heads for a while because of how spiritual I am and how spiritual he is. Again, people are still different, right? So he needed to see what I was trying to do internally so it can make sense, so we can put our hands on this together and make it work. And at first he was just like, hey, don't explain anything to me anymore because I don't see it. He was like, but I trust you. You're my boy. I got you. I'm following your lead. And so there's things in here extremely intentional, that everything in here that will allow the customer to have the best tattoo experience possible. And specifically speaking to tattooing because of how it is what it is, how traumatic it can be. We designed this place to neutralize essentially the nervous system. It sounds crazy, right? So when you do come in, you are in more of a receiving space to get tattooed without even people realizing why that's happening. And listening to the feedback was crazy, right? Because going in, designing it, you're like, how are you going to do that on a grant, like daily? Yeah. With strangers, like how are you gonna control that? Yeah. But there's ways, and we live in it daily. We ignore it, and so I just brought elements into the shop that will, on an energetic level, regardless of your beliefs, religious, spiritual, whatever. When you walk in here, none of that matters.
It breaks the norm of tattoo studio. This is not. That's why 2512 Collective is a perfect name.
The smell, the sound, other elements that are implemented in here really allows people to let go mentally and be present and get tattooed.
I love that. I've had my fair share of tattoos. And I can think of like one great experience. And then the rest of them was like, oh, it's a tattoo shop. I just read a book, kind of zone out and get it done. But I do have like, some great memories. And then, I don't know, thinking about like your next tattoo. Well, I don't think you have space on your body for more tattoos, but thinking about your next tattoo, what is that and why?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many that I'm going to get still. There's some space that I intentionally left open.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to take some steps back and get some removal because I want better quality work. I want to bring my stories up to date. And I kind of want to break myself down a little bit and go through the process just to connect with tattooing on a deeper level. Again, my view of tattooing is this is how we communicated before we formulated words and civilized language, right? So I want to understand it deeper. It's ceremonial for me. Also, with what artists are producing today, it just makes sense, right? A lot of my tattoos in the beginning intentional and have stories, but I didn't have the means to get the quality that is out there now, right? I did that so I could learn. So I sacrificed on purpose. Now I want to, you know, pay it a different kind of respect and really hit home on the visual aspect and just make them more appealing.
I call tattoos my love language. Like each one has a story, and like they all mean something and connect in some sort of way.
Yes, yes.
This going on. Well, Sophia joined so we can open up for questions.
Yep, we have some questions here going on. I think before we get into that, people love best friends. People love the whole fire and ice dynamic duo. What would be a way that you describe your partnership? And you know, you touched earlier upon how it's so important to have a good partner and finding that. So is it peanut butter and jelly?
Vulnerability.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Vulnerability. Like, and I'm not talking like, oh, you know, it's raw. Absolute raw vulnerability. Like I'm getting choked up just talking about it because it's like we've had some talks that will, you know, are private, but the point is that when you break down in front of another guy, that's what's up.
And there's so much more to that. It's not just the act, right? But the trust that's behind that, right? And that can be done with a complete stranger.
Yeah.
If you have an opportunity to hold the door open for somebody, hold the door open. You know what I mean? If somebody does it for you, don't be too big or too proud to say thank you, regardless of whatever the hell's going on, right? Difference of color, different of whatever. Like, be considerate of somebody else's energy that is exactly like yours. Yeah. And they might be going through some shit that to them is life changing. Yeah. And you're over here just being prideful. Like it doesn't, there's no space for that. We get one shot at this, as far as we know. You know what I mean? So the vulnerability and being honest and being open really allows for people to connect beyond, again, labels, what's on the outside, and it's just like, oh shit, like we're exactly the same.
Yeah.
And this is okay to experience. Damn, you went through that too?
Yep.
Man, I didn't have an answer to this, and now somebody else understands. Yeah, man, we're all the same. But we've created, again, over time, we've created these labels, there's levels to this shit. Yeah. There's no there isn't. And if there is, I mean, that's a choice, right? We talked about it earlier. Make the choice. If you want to go to another level, make the choice and surround yourself with like-minded people. The environment does it naturally, you know what I mean? So there's no reason why humans can't make their environment cohesive for them so they can thrive and everybody thrives together. You know? So vulnerability.
Yeah. Being open to growth. And with that, there's a question about internships and apprenticeship. What's kind of the model around training in the collective?
Oh man, it's funny. Ever since season 10, I remember the first episode. I had an experience off camera as soon as we exited the set. Something personal happened while the judges were talking to me, while the cameras were rolling. We were recording, and I had to hold it in. I had to hold it back. And I think some people caught it. The executive producer came around and pulled me aside, and I lost my shit. I broke down. But when I was standing there coaching my team, I saw my kids, right? Same amount. There was seven. Seven is my life path number. There's 7 people in my family. There were 7 of us total. And the lay of the land at that moment was whatever coach did best has the advantage over the other 2 teams. So I had a moment where I was listening to the critique and I was just like, shit, I let my fucking kids down. I let my kids down. Fast forward to now, it's funny you mention that because I've been trying for years to figure out what my next move is. And I've been so hesitant and I haven't been vulnerable enough with myself to stand on what I want to do. And that's to coach artistically and personally, and to guide and counsel, right? Other artists, other people. And it's interesting because I'm slowly just getting flooded with a lot of, whether it's apprenticeships, tattoo questions, everyday life, fitness stuff, motivation, whatever it is. I'm going to segue into that, right? So I'm actually currently trying to figure out the logistics of that because I only have so much time, but I feel I'm a better coach and leader than I am tattooer. As interesting as that sounds, and I'm nowhere near where I'm going to be at visually with my tattoos, but there's so much more I can offer to bring others up that I'm really going to dive into. I just need to figure out how I'm going to deliver that to everybody, but it's coming for sure.
Yep. Yeah. And on the note of figuring out, making certain things work, there was a question about a little bit more of logistics. So we had a question from Anna about the kind of the operations with brick and mortar business and what that looks like in a pandemic.
Hey Anna, good to hear from you.
Am I going in on
Yeah,
that?
I
How they compiled startup costs to so real quick, I have no business experience up until now. The majority of that, I'm just gonna be vulnerable with you guys. Like I'm not gonna lie to you about how this came about. I wanted to have a plan going into this. I knew I kind of had, the odds were against me. Again, I don't have a business degree. I don't have I didn't have any business experience. I had X amount of dollars. With my winnings, a lot would think it would go to that. Paid off my mom's debt, paid off my debt, and the federal and state took the rest. So literally check by check, supporting the family, supporting myself, trying to figure out how the hell I was going to do this. Morning. Started saving and literally took all of my savings and I jumped right in. But again, going back to my intention and what I was going to do, there was no other option. So that's the business end of it. And I did my reading, did my research, but I have a team. So I didn't go in this completely blind. And my team consists of one other person. It started with one other person. Now it's a team. Again, strength in numbers, community. And then going back to the second part of your question, COVID, I think it was an opportunity again of adversity. Adversity causes some men to break, others to break records. And I'm not here to just try something and just be like, all right, I gave it a shot. No, we're going. So COVID hit, all kinds of speculation, all kinds of rules. You can't do this. You have to do that. You have to wear this. You can't wear that. You can't go here. You can't talk to somebody. You can't. Man, okay. So I started reading between the lines, and I did. I took my risks, but I also, with those risks, they were educated.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Strategic.
So very strategic. So we controlled the environment as much as we could. I try to teach these guys that tattooing is nothing short of surgery. You're physically altering somebody's appearance for the rest of their life, so take it seriously. Not only what goes out the door, but how they're handled. We don't have room for error. We have to sanitize. We have to glove up. We run through the business multiple times a day to keep it clean. So we added more cleaning procedures. And again, we just control the environment. The big thing was numbers and the spread. So we controlled how many people came in. We controlled visitors. We controlled walk-ins, right? All that stuff. So we, again, read between the lines and applied ourselves where we could to continue business, because it's not just my family that's relying on it. This is essential for everybody that's working in here, because they have to support their families as well. And we're still here. We're not going anywhere.
You said you have no business experience, but I think throughout this conversation, there's been all sorts of qualities demonstrated with your entrepreneurial skills. And I feel like the biggest ones being your why, and then also thinking about the customer, talking to the customer, getting the feedback, walking through customer empathy. And these are things that we teach our entrepreneurs. So you got it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, we want to thank you guys for coming today. We truly appreciate it, but we want you to stay with us for just a minute.
Sure.
So our last announcement, I have some more questions, but our last announcement, and then we'll wrap this up.
Okay, so really quickly, this has been an awesome conversation, and thank you, Kendall and Anthony. I'm looking forward to more people tuning in and hearing the story and hearing the philosophies. I want to quickly talk about our Startup Tucson Food Accelerator. So this is for agricultural producers and agricultural entrepreneurs. We want to put you on an online platform, and we're going to be giving out 30 free websites. So you'll be wanting to look out for that information. And then in the fall, we'll be having a Startup Tucson Food Accelerator. So if you are into doing value-added goods or you're growing food, we want to know about what you're doing and how we can support you, and also get you a website. So you can go down to the link here, startuptucson.com/startup food accelerator. And that is a great way to get support for your food business. And with that, y'all, happy Wednesday. Have a good day.
And thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode or next month. Next month, History Month. So that we will have a women's panel. So join us for that. Thanks, guys.
Bye.